Guys, we're back with another episode of the Bang Cookie Craver Podcast. How's everyone here doing, George?
I am doing very well.
Our magnanimous founder and CEO. We have a very special guest today, Smilo. We're just going with Smilo now.
That's perfect. Thanks
Nothing
for
else.
No, this is very easy. to
And
digest.
so I think everyone at home needs to know how you know George.
George, we go back to Rutgers. We both went to business school. We're in a finance program together. He decided to go his entrepreneurial route, and I went to finance. And full circle, now I'm the entrepreneur, and he's kind of the second tier entrepreneur.
So that means you have stories of George baking in college.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do. I mean, he tried. He wasn't the best at it, but he did have resources that helped him cook. So.
Yeah.
What does that mean, resources to help you cook?
Well, me and Mike go back to the days of debauchery.
Of debauchery.
Yes.
So did the idea of Bang Me Bakery start in college? This name that is so unanimous. I mean, was George always a guy picking dirty names for things?
He's probably the more innocent one of the group, but what he was good at was cooking, and he didn't know much outside of that and eating right. And usually it was seaweed wrapped around frozen liver.
Wait, stop it. He's lying. George, there's no way.
No. It wasn't liver, man. It was
frozen.
they call
Frozen liver.
carnivore. It's carnivore now. It's called carnivore. So seaweed wrapped
The
in
thing
like
is, I know you're being
prime
serious.
brisket.
I'm dead serious. It was
Yeah,
disgusting.
like brisket cuts.
And then
I-
you
No,
have a
but it was
cookie after?
liver, man. It was
It was
liver.
liver too. Yeah, I had like I was consuming beef liver, like raw beef liver, as my form of
Is this like
multivitamins,
an
man.
Asian secret to having
Zero.
No,
young,
man.
tight skin?
No way.
Well, yeah, it's super nutrient dense, man. It's like beef liver is one of the healthiest things you can actually eat, raw too.
We're vegetarian in India, most of the
Yeah.
country, so
Yeah.
this is just not
This
something
is-
that we know about.
Yeah.
It's not something anybody knows about.
Wait, no, a
other
lot
than
of people actually
George.
know about this. Actually, a good amount of people in America.
Yeah, I don't know if the audience wants to hear any more about beef liver. So,
Oh, it's so
I
good
think
for you,
what we
though.
should transition to is getting an understanding of how and why Mike is so important to the Bang Cookies ecosystem.
Well, before we go into that, I would say me and Mike used to party a lot, and we had moments where when we used to live in Hoboken, Mike loves his pizza. But then I would randomly bust out my avocados out of nowhere and just eat avocados at 3 a.m.
No.
Is
Yeah,
an avocado a drunk food?
Dude, it was more than that. I mean, we go on road trips, and he
Yeah.
would bring a powdered oatmeal and protein everywhere with a banana.
First of
literally.
all, we went to Montreal. It was an epic adventure. And we got stopped at the Border Patrol. In the back of Mike's car was literally a whole vitamin shop worth of supplements.
Mhm.
So the Border Patrol, the Canadian Border Patrol, was like, "What do you guys have in the back?" And Mike opened up the trunk,
Yeah.
and they're canisters of white powder.
Yeah, I just had
I mean, labeled white powder.
No, so I had all right, so I used to also eat healthier, and I
Yeah.
had just
Work it
bags
out.
of protein and creatine monohydrate powder. So we just sit there and there'd be powders, but they wouldn't be labeled. I took them out into baggies because it was
Yeah.
just easier with bags.
Right.
So we're just unlabeled bags full of white powder at the border. That was a true story.
That's a true story. Imagine what the Border Patrol was looking at. What is this bags of white powder? They even brought out the sniffing dogs.
They did.
So you guys are telling me there's a chance you guys would both be in Canadian jail right now,
They're-
and not a big part of Bang Cookies in the future.
But in reality, it was just creatine powder and protein powder, like vanilla protein powder and creatine powder.
Would cocaine dogs know the difference between a Bang cookie and a competitor cookie?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's a good question.
That's a very good
Yeah.
question.
There's not as much sugar in here, and
Yeah.
processed food, so
Yeah.
they might be able to decipher the difference.
I
And
wonder.
healthier dogs, for
Yeah.
sure.
Do you have dogs?
Yeah, I
Smilo?
do. 2 Chihuahuas.
Yeah, too.
Can they tell the
Yeah.
difference?
They actually eat a pretty good diet comprised of protein and low sugar. So
And
I think
creatine
that-
monohydrate?
Yeah, of course. That keeps them lean and fit, and 5 pounds.
So you guys are telling me that this idea of fitness has been around for a long time for both of you.
Yeah.
And then somehow cookies came into the picture, and then through your friendship, Mike came back into the world of Bang Cookies.
Yeah, and what's funny was we actually had a lot. I had no idea about this, but we had customers inside of Bang Cookies that Mike knew in the franchising world, and they were existing customers. And me and Mike have been friends for well over going on almost 25 years at this point.
I mean, relax. Relax
Oh,
yourself.
excuse me.
Are you
People
kidding me?
don't
First of all, he's
People
wrong.
don't realize that George is
25
really 70 years old.
Like,
No one can
talking
tell,
about?
right? His skin hasn't cracked
Yeah,
once.
relax.
It's
He's
all
a
the
li-
beef liver.
Yeah, it's all the beef liver.
It is the
yeah.
beef liver, man. Yeah.
And then, I mean, you got the Fu Manchu thing
Yeah, I got
happening.
it
No
too,
one knows
man.
how old you are.
Yeah, no one knows. But dude, 25 years, that's a big stretch. I'd say 20 years.
So,
Someone's very sensitive, man.
I mean, that's wrong. That's inaccurate material. You'd be 70 years old right now, okay?
so Mike, who'd you know?
Oh, man. In the franchise world that I'm also in, I know a lot of guys, who are in different concepts, whether it's food or QSR concepts, also personal care, consumer brands.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of, Jersey City's a pretty cool location. I know a lot of guys who used to eat their cookies. And full circle, I mean, I used to have parties at our house or different events, and George would always show up with cookies, and people didn't know him, be like, where's the cookie guy? I'm like, yeah, that's George. It's my buddy. He'd come back. He'd deliver cookies. He's always in and out real quick. He doesn't party too hard these days. He'd go in for, an hour, show face with his cookies and his chihuahua, and then bounce. And then there'd be like 50 cookies. And then by the end of the night, everybody's, drinking shots, drinking drinks, and then having their cookies. So
It's not a Chihuahua. Mango is a mini pincher.
Oh.
Yes.
My bad.
Which is double the size of your Chihuahuas.
Yeah.
So the two of your Chihuahuas equals one mango.
Okay. No wonder he's a little bigger.
If only I had graphics right now to put on the camera for everyone to see. So, I mean, I don't think the audience really understands who you are yet, right? And we should talk about post-college, your career, and the path that you took.
Really?
I mean,
Kind of dry, but yeah.
You're a little famous.
Yeah, a little bit. No. No, thank you, by the way.
I'm trying to keep you humble,
Ankur, I
you know?
appreciate it. Ankur and I both DJ'd, and we have names in the DJ community. Well, we know a lot of people, so I had fun DJing, throwing parties.
I mean, you could tell the audience the truth. There's a lot of shirtless pics of you at beach parties, at pool parties,
Bar A?
back in the day.
Vegas,
DJ?
AC,
Jersey
in the
Shore.
Dubai.
Back in the day, but then I haven't taken off my shirt for 10 years since, so, because all these cookies really, put extra fat on me, so I don't take my shirt off anymore.
So, I mean, how did music enter your life? And then at what point did you become this, East Coast franchisee?
Yeah.
I don't even, what do we call it? Conglomerate, monopoly holder? I mean, you have, 6 different
a lot of
franchises?
businesses, yeah. Yeah, I started, after college, or during college, I started interviewing for the thing called investment banking, because that's what everybody thought you had to do after business school. And then, I got into it because I networked my way into Citigroup. So I joined their analyst program, and then, from there, I just started meeting people, and I think my network to this date are from there. And then I ended up going to Merrill Lynch. I was in their investment banking program as well. And
wait a second, George, what's harder to impress, an Asian mother or investment banking bosses?
Asian mother.
Asian
by far.
mother?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
The level I have to achieve is almost insurmountable.
I mean,
Yeah.
you have a little Asian in you, right?
Yeah, I do.
Smilo?
Yeah, I sure do.
At what point did your parents first say they were proud of you?
Unlike maybe, I won't say George, but I'm proud of me for everything back in the day. I'm proud of me for putting a cup in the dishwasher. I mean, that was a proud moment. Proud of me for picking up my laundry off the ground.
He doesn't understand our pain, George. He does not understand.
Mike's got it
Little
easy,
different.
man.
Yeah, I
Mike's
got
got
it
it
easy.
easy. He's got a mother that understands and loves him in a certain way.
Yeah.
And for us that are just hardcore tiger moms from Taiwan, it's
Totally
brutal.
different.
It's brutal. I literally have to be on the level of Bill Gates. I mean, straight up. That's what she said. Why
It's a
can't
little
you be Bill
different
Gates?
in my world. I mean,
When I was 16, she said to me.
I will say, I started off in Ohio State, right? And in Ohio State, I studied architecture. After about 8 months, I was, studying architecture. I came home with this little model paper mache kind of showing spatial characteristics, some crap they made me build. I brought it home. I remember showing my mom and dad, this is what I spent the year doing while being a part of a frat. And they were like, so this is what you're in college for? I said, yeah, but this shows spatial characteristics and modulation. So at that point, I realized that maybe I should go back into something that's going to,
finance. Was the move.
Finance.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the move. Yeah.
So at what point did you start jumping in the franchises?
So after that, after Merrill Lynch Capital, I started financing entrepreneurs and guys who were, business owners, but a lot of them were buying Wendy's or Burger King's, multiple units. And at that point, it was just looking at cash flow, right? A lot of the guys that I financed were kosher, and they didn't eat these hamburgers, but at the end of the day there was money to be made. So I was like, oh, this is kind of interesting. I'm financing acquisition of 20 Wendy's. Wow, there's a lot of money to be made. So at that point, that's when I started thinking, hey, listen, how do I get into the franchise space?
George, that translates to Mike made a ton of money and started helping other people in his circles start their business. Did Mike invest in your business when you started?
Not in the beginning.
Smilo.
Not in the beginning. Not in the
Well,
very
I
beginning.
don't think I don't know if you approached me for an
No, I
investment.
didn't. I didn't approach Mike on it because I was busy with just running the business at that time, and Mike was in finance. So we would get together every once in a while. We would hang out, but because of our busy schedules, it was kind of tough. Just kind of coordinate and even talk about it. But when it came down to the next stage of the business, which was going from having a few corporate stores and then looking into the franchise space, Mike was the one person that I knew that had a few franchises in European wax centers, EWC. And that's when I reached out to him, hey, can you give me some guidance on how franchising works? Because I didn't have any.
Tell us the truth, Mike. How many times did he ask for a free wax? Tell us the truth.
The problem is he's not my target demographic in waxing.
It's because he has no body hair.
No
No body hair, man.
Yeah, they don't.
I'm
they
Asian.
Don't do well.
I'm East Asian, so there's I barely any hair on me, man.
Okay, so let's let the cat out of the bag. Who approached who for this first Bang Cookies franchise? Was it George asking you that you should do it, or was it you asking George?
What's interesting is no one asked each other. I think George is kind of his, hey, let's have some lunch, and let's just talk about how do I structure this type of deal, and it was kind of like, how do you structure a capital raise? How do you scale it via franchise? How do we look at it, whether we scale the corporate owned stores versus the franchise stores, and what are the pros and cons to each, what is the the trajectory of each? And I've been through the process as a franchisee, but I've also seen franchisors and helped them finance as well as they scale. So I've seen both sides of it. So it was really just, hey, let's just catch up and see how you can get involved. But I wasn't even going to get involved. It was just, listen, he's my boy for so many years. He trusts me. I trust him. Let's just try to see what we can do. And then afterwards, I don't even know how it kind of came up. Then it was like, hey, listen, I think it was you. Listen, I think you could add value to Bang Cookies. And then at that point was the first time I was like, you know what? I love the cookies. They're freaking delicious. They didn't give me these massive sugar rushes that other cookies did. And at that point I was like, you know what? This is a concept I like. I started, seeing their socials. The socials was cool. They had already some cool color schemes. I love the branding of it already. And then I thought that, listen, what it needs to have at that point, just take it to the next level. Yeah,
that's
exactly.
what we need. Is
you
Ankur
need
Garg.
the more marketing. You need the social media side of things. Really pump it into that and really align, and also structure and how do you franchise. I mean, those parts were like the trifecta to kind of take it to the next steps.
And this is where Corey was introduced.
Yeah, exactly.
And we had a few meetings with Corey, and Corey loved the product. And for me, getting into social media was something I was
foreign.
Not
Dude.
foreign might be an overstatement, but more resistant. But ultimately, social media is where we needed to be at, and then we needed someone that had a lot of clout, that also understood how to generate content and bring more awareness and exposure to the company.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is that Mike brought Corey to the table?
Yep, I brought Corey to the table, and that's the thing is, kind of in this world of these entrepreneurs, whether they're in entertainment or not, I still do music, and I had fun with it, so I know a lot of guys in the industry too, and it was kind of fusing both worlds. So yeah, I think I was George's link to the fun side of the world, and really the fun side of the world is also guys like you, me, people kind of bring both sides together. And listen, there's I think when you fuse both sides of that, I mean, you had an excellent product. Everybody believed in this product. You know, everybody who's tried this all freaking love it. I've never seen someone who says, oh, you know what? It's okay, right? So I think it was very easy selling the product, which is usually a difficult part of it. He's already developed the consumer base, and he defined who the target market is. So the rest of it was just, for me, it was like, I'm going to call it a simple task, but if you put the guys who are aligned, guys like you got Corey, you got me, you know, and the franchise side of things, I mean, that was easy.
So, George, why the Jersey Shore? Why is that the location that we're giving to Smilo? Or did Smilo demand Jersey Shore?
Smilo demanded Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
He wanted that sign that said, I got banged in Jersey Shore. That's the truth, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Definitely.
hell
Yeah.
So, I mean, ties to the Jersey Shore?
Yeah.
Anything exciting happening with this opening?
Yep.
I mean,
There's a lot of history
I know
to Jersey
Arvin's
Shore.
not going to be there, so we don't got to worry about him. But I hear some of Arvin's friends might be there.
Yeah, man. It's, you know, it's a good. We have similar. You know, we know the same people from
Yeah.
back in the day. But I think the Jersey Shore is very incestual. There's a lot of, you know, guys who are just involved in. There are a lot of hustlers in that area. There's a lot of entertainment background back there, and you know, we've all partied in Shore for years. And it's sat at home. I went to Manalapan High School a long time ago. So did, you know, our buddy Mike. Situation. So did a lot of the people live in our area in Monmouth County. And I think that, you know, it's ripe for. I'd say it's a play on the words. We're gonna have the Jersey Shore LED light, which we're working on right now, by the way, and it looks really cool. But that's gonna be like an Instagrammable sign on our store. And you kind of, you know, you have an awesome demographic there of people, you know, who like the cookies there. But I mean, you have Route 35s where we're open in Ocean Township, and that area, I mean, it's a huge corridor right to the shore, like only 5 minutes away to the beaches. And then you're pulling from everybody in Monmouth County. I grew up in Monmouth County, so we know everybody there. And I think we have a lot of pull in that area. I mean, we have a lot of people, you know, rooting us on, and our grand opening is going to be ridiculous.
So, I mean, I'm Indian, right? So I have uncles and friends that have opened franchises for many, many years that I've talked to. Dunkin's, I mean, Subways, gas stations, 7-Eleven, so on and so forth, right? Like, what goes into opening a Bang Cookies? And, like, what are the things that people don't realize a franchise owner has to go through? Either one of you can answer this question.
Well,
and the other one should correct that person for whatever they forgot.
You know, I could jump into just being in other concepts, franchise that, you know, I started with European Wax Center now, I don't know, I won't say almost a decade ago, it was a while ago. So, and then, you know, it was bought out. Well, there was significant investment by General Atlantic, private equity fund, then it, you know, went public. So, I mean, you have a lot of eyes on there, so they've really refined their process of dealing with franchisees, you know, and coming into a new concept like Bang, it's really, a lot of the work went into just developing the internal processes and developing, you know, how you speak to the franchisees, how you build this playbook of success so it's a turnkey operation for it. So I think the reason why, you know, I've been helpful as part of this, you know, with George, is I've had experience in a few concepts and really seeing what franchisees will go through. And it takes a long time to refine that process because it's the Wild West with the franchise
George, name some stuff that surprised you in that process. Because, I mean, you as the founder, this must be a whole new world to you.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this also comes from understanding real estate and construction. So I learned a lot. It's actually quite complicated in the sense that when you're out there looking for real estate, that part of negotiating, finding good real estate is not that simple. And looking for a great location is paramount to the success of any brick and mortar retail store, whether it's food or any type of retail. So,
was there like another franchise founder that you were looking to for motivation or inspiration?
Oh yeah, I did. I definitely really liked the model of like how Chipotle grew their brick and mortar retail stores, store by store, and how I looked into their construction, how they did the construction, they minimized the cost, and you know, the concept even of Bang Cookies in itself and how we developed a team and built culture that comes from even, you know, being a member at Costco. Like I've said this many times in the podcast, I'm a member at Costco, I love Costco and how they treat their customers.
So, Smilo, what's your favorite franchise that's out there that people can open?
You know, that's the tough part. So it's, how do I explain it? Back in the day when we're younger, who the heck wants to get into a franchise world? It's not a sexy thing. It's not cool, right? Our parents' generation may have done it, and it was like, yeah, they owned a KFC. Very cool, you know? I think, what's that movie? Not Blindside, right, with Sandra Bullock, right? You know, she was a franchisee, right, for McDonald's.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
That was the first time I was like, dude, wow, these guys make money. Like, I had no idea. I was younger.
And they were rich.
Rich. Yeah, rich. So I was like, dude, there's actually this world of these people that are in multi-concept. So as I started learning this, I was like, yo, this is actually pretty cool. And then only recent years, I'd say the past decade, you have a lot of the influx of private equity, realizing there's a significant cash flow, recurring, predictable cash flow in this business. So, I mean, for me, the franchise concepts that's been proven already, I mean, those are like these cash cows. It's hard to get into them. How do you get a territory? I mean, it's already sold. And the guys who are in it are proven operators with 30, 40, 50 stores, and they've been sold this franchise. So now they have to go into middle America in a town that you've never heard of, and that's where you take your risk, right? So, I mean, for me, like, I looked at even Chick-fil-A, and, you know, they capped out how much you could actually even make. Right? I mean, which is a lot.
You have to go to like a university to learn exactly how they want it.
It doesn't matter what your pedigree is. You know, it's like they want your proven experience. They want you to dedicate all your time and work there full time. So there's a lot of operators who are franchisors. They don't want guys who are absentee owners. They're, you know, guys who aren't going to be there and operating the stores. So I think these type of opportunities, like Bang Cookies or some of these newer concepts with significant backing and a team that can really push this through, are awesome opportunities for newer operators who are going to do well, and they put together a cool team, you know. And so for me, I don't even know what concept would be cool. I mean, I love EWC, and I'm also in medical spas. I like that concept, high margin business, high volume. You can make a lot of money, but you're taking a lot of risk with medical spas. You have expensive equipment. So now your capital outlay is this much. The break-even time period might be that much longer. Whereas something like this, you know, and what George has done well is really refined a process where your fit-out costs, your leasehold improvements, you know, the equipment needed is much lower to build out a spot than it would be for another concept.
George, can we talk about the numbers? Because there's going to be people listening that are going to be like, hey, I would love to bring a Bang Cookies to my town.
Yeah, I mean, for us, like, we've really refined the process in the last probably 8 months in understanding how to reduce cost on even the build out, which is, you know, a huge capital outlay for most franchising.
I feel like this is going to be a very educational moment, so I'm going to go ahead and grab a cookie and just entertain, because it can't be a podcast without me stuffing my face.
You know, one of the...
Let me smile. Can I get you a cookie?
No, I'm good right now, but I will have it later.
One of the things that was really surprising to me was millwork. Millwork is extremely expensive. Yeah. And one of the first things that I wanted to tackle to reduce that cost was understanding how to operate with the millwork. And if you look at the majority of the...
Wait, George, everyone at home doesn't know what millwork is.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's explain that to people.
The millwork is pretty much the custom counter that you build.
And the cabinetry.
And the cabinetry underneath it. So whenever you walk up to like a store like, let's say, McDonald's, and you see the counter, that's what's considered millwork. And that's typically made specifically for that franchise. And it could range anywhere from like $50,000 up to $250,000 or more on millwork alone.
Did you just say $250,000 on cabinets?
On cabinets.
Yeah.
This is what's so crazy, and this is where experience comes into it. Well, this is where experience comes in. So again, some of the value I add. You know, the fact that I've been in multi-concepts, I've already know some of the larger providers of millwork across the country, and we have more bargaining power to negotiate these. There's so much margin embedded in this millwork. So someone who might not know, and you know, if they don't know Bang or they're going on their end and just calling millwork providers, you're right. I mean, you can literally pay 3 times the amount of money. Yeah, for the same.
Maybe even more if you don't know what you're doing. Yeah, if you don't know what you're doing.
I feel like it's like the wedding industry.
Yeah,
say the word wedding, a venue goes like 10x more expensive.
Exactly.
But you're like, I need millwork. They're like, oh, perfect. Let's open the other catalog.
Yep. There you go.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. It's I learned a lot from that, and obviously we worked with a few different people and kind of learned the whole process of how everything gets together, the materials and everything. So now at this point, you know, Bang Cookies is able to do the millwork for literally like, I'm not joking, like 15% of the cost of what it originally was.
Huge difference.
What does that mean?
Like 85% cost savings.
So let's just make this easy. All in, what does someone need to have to open a Bang Cookies in Chicago or in Atlanta?
Yeah, it really depends on if you're just talking about the build out, not including rent or deposits, all in, probably right now at this point with the new version that we have out, probably around 200K or less.
Yeah, I think that would be for like even a really smaller location, which, metropolitan area where you can really negotiate, the rents and everything. Yeah. But I would think, because there's also the cost of risk, which is, working capital. Just
working capital,
sure, like 6 months where you're not factoring into that.
This is not factoring in like the working capital. It's just strictly on the equipment, the build out in itself.
Mm-hmm. So if you break it down, I mean, realistically, a little over $100,000 for equipment. This is great equipment. This is cooking equipment, coffee equipment, everything you're going to need. A little over 100, and that's where George has negotiated this for years, maybe. I don't even know at this point. So he's
Asian.
Down.
He's been negotiating forever,
since the beginning of time.
He was getting ready.
So he's been helping us with
that.
that.
It's never good enough, man.
It's never good. But you think about the amount of volume we're going to bring to these vendors, right? Oh, so that's value to them. It's going to give the gift that keeps giving, maybe lower margin. But so I would think a little over 100 for equipment. Leasehold improvements and throwing out numbers, I mean, you can range from 125 to 150 per square foot, right? So for 1,000 square foot place in suburb America, you do the math there, like 100 and call it 25 to 175,000, right? So that's why all in 250 for a bigger location.
For a bigger location, we're talking about bigger location.
How does that stack up against competitors and other
so much cheaper?
So
much cheaper.
But why? Why is it so much cheaper for Bang? Is it just because George is that?
I think George.
Negotiator?
Yeah, I think it's negotiation, really keeping the cost because, dude, you could splurge on so many freaking things. Like this desk, if he was a franchisor, really didn't give a crap, he'd be like, $5,000, right? Yeah.
There are concepts out there where the table that they have in the coffee shop is like $13,000.
Yeah,
just for the freaking table.
Wait. How much do you think a Starbucks table costs? There's no way those things are like $13,000.
I'm not talking about Starbucks. I'm talking about some other brands that I've known that I've seen the cost on. They would have a communal table where people can sit to drink the coffee. $13,000.
That's crazy.
Crazy, man.
Everything
crazy.
What is it made out of diamonds?
Yeah, you would think, right?
That's just wood.
Yeah. I mean, it's a freaking table, right?
Table,
I mean, it's one thing to get a nice watch, or a car, right? People know what it is. No one knows what brand this table is. So that's the thing. Like, when you start skimming on these items, I mean, you can save substantial, amounts. Like even the tables that we're now choosing are red tables with a black, top there. Like something like that. I mean. Tables, I think we're paying maybe $1,200 for a table. These are commercial grade tables, right? Mm. I would have wanted it cheaper, but at this point, that's what it is. These are commercial grade.
Yeah.
But things like this could be easily double. Even the signage, that's a huge thing, right? People don't realize how much a sign is that goes in front of your store. Yeah. And then you do a pylon sign. You might do I'm doing 2 signs right now, right? One on both sides. I want to do it because it's good marketing.
Yeah, you need to
taking advantage of 2 major roads or 2 highways. So I want it on both sides. The visibility is very important on this corner unit I have. But that said, I mean, a sign could be literally you can get one for $6,000, $5,000 something, or it could be $15,000. Yeah. So this is where I think, coming in a concept like Bang Cookies, you're going to have guys like me and George and our team really helping the franchisee if they don't have as much experience negotiating.
Yeah. So someone's interested in bringing it to their town. You guys kind of consult for them too. And
I think that is a value add that George has been providing that maybe other concepts might not do some of that hand holding as much, right?
We do a bit more hand holding, and we do a lot, actually not a bit, but actually a lot of hand holding because our goal is to pass on the savings to our franchisees. And work in such a way that our franchisees are pretty much our customers, so we want to make sure that they get the best value
He's
possible.
not lying. Yeah. You know how he beat me down on my price?
I believe it.
It was frustrating, man.
I believe it.
He's like, all right, so this is my corporate price. No problem. Franchises get half off. Yep. I'm like, how many franchises you have? He's like, a couple right now. I'm like, okay, they could have half. I get in. Like 2 weeks in, he's like, we're opening 500. I'm like, what? What? How is that going to happen
bait and switch,
for me?
Man. That's George,
Dude, signed contract and everything. Franchises get a discount, major discount on all services.
George is, but you know what? He's going to bat for the guys, who are joining the teams, right? Yep. I mean, even with me, I'm a franchisee now, right? A multi-unit franchisee, and I'm a franchisor. is kind of cool. I'm on both sides of the equation because I wanted to be. So I have investors on both sides, right? I've raised money, helped raise money at corporate level, which is going to be corporate-owned stores. We're opening Brooklyn soon, right? We have American Dream. We have all these Newark Airport. I just got 2 texts this morning. Yo, I'm in Newark Airport. I see Bane Cookies. So that's tremendous branding that we have, right? Which now you're able to leverage, and you can help you with the marketing side of things. I think my flagship store in Jersey Shore is going to be great branding for the store. So in that case, I did negotiate with George on my license fee. The funny, but I did because in my eyes, I'm helping with the brand, right? So I should get a deal with my license fee. So I pulled a George and I negotiated it. But at the end of the day, we're giving him experience here.
So
you got yours for free.
I'm
getting Philly for free. That's what I asked for.
Are you gonna open a store?
Yeah, downtown Philly.
Seriously?
Yeah, I told George that's the one I want.
Well,
dude, for real?
100%.
He's got to pay for the fee.
Oh wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, but I need you to represent me in negotiation because I'm pretty sure anything I have is gonna have massive marketing power for what we're doing.
Well,
that was my fight.
I told Mike, all right, first one out, fine, but ultimately, we still need to grow the business on the corporate side with the funds. And ultimately, it's just as the brand grows bigger and bigger, by the time you're ready to open, Ankur, the actual savings your build out is literally going to be
He's beating me down right now on the podcast. We're on camera, George.
No, but let's be honest. This is already frustrating. But say for me, for example, right? My millwork. Freaking millwork, I'm buying a freaking cabinet down here, and already with Brooklyn, whatever that
City Point
Brooklyn, even there, they're not doing a cabinet underneath. They're doing these. So he's been testing this out, and that's going to be a tremendous savings. Yeah. So even for freaking me, I've been negotiating this thing with the millwork provider. They already drew it up. Now there's change orders. So I'm like, forget it. So I'm going to do straight up cabinetry work, which is going to be a lot more expensive. So when I'm to George's point, we're saving all the future franchisees more money. Even me as a franchisee.
God, I'm getting tag teamed right now. I want my franchise fees. Yeah, I actually just found the location.
Yeah.
And we're talking to some realtors and people to figure out how that's going to work. And I have an investor that's going to back the project. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's a pretty innovative idea, and I was going to talk to Corey about a couple things.
Yeah.
Because what I think it should be is that I think I'm going to have a Bane Cookies in the front house, but then the back house is going to be like a speakeasy comedy club.
Oh, very interesting.
That is really cool.
I'll have that whole coffee shop, cookie vibe during the daytime. And then at night, obviously, we know where the dessert's coming from.
Yeah,
right? But
that's actually
comedy clubs are really easy to pull off.
Yeah, especially with coffee and just utilizing
the coffee, the cookie, and the bakery items.
Yeah.
We looked into what the liquor license would cost for us to do all that. And everything.
Really? That's really cool.
But I do need representation in this.
No, I'm with you in this, man. I'm also. Okay, here's what's cool. George is very grounded, and you are very process-driven. You create these policies. You're good at kind of sticking, I don't want to say to the vanilla plan, but you're very conservative, right? Which you need that in a brand.
Actually, there's a side of me that's actually a massive risk taker.
No, I know. But what I'm saying is I was able to kind of get that out of him sometimes.
No conservative man wears a shirt that tight.
Yeah.
There's just no way. Yeah. There's no way.
Oh man.
That's why he's not eating any cookies right now.
It's like Mike's cars, got to be flashy somehow.
Yeah, you got it, man. You got it. That's
You know what I have to understand? How does a location like Jersey Shore fare with the fundraising program?
I think that would be
community out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's going to be.
Yeah,
me and Mike. I'm going to work with Mike on doing a massive outreach program to all of Monmouth County and the schools. Mm-hmm. And what's interesting is we're going to be working. We're potentially working with a new franchisee that's in a different county in Mercer, and they're 2 principals. Mm-hmm. And what we're planning to do is really work out a plan to kind of understand how to help schools and reach out to the schools, help them raise money through the fundraiser program, at which, once Mike opens up, then we can drive a lot more traffic for the schools to go pick up the cookies, but we give back 40% back to students for using our digital fundraiser at Bane Cookies.
This is why I think Philadelphia is a spot I should go to.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah,
the fundraising opportunity is for that type of town. Yeah. This is something that's crazy, right? Other franchises, if you talk to them, franchisors or whatever the word is, right? they don't have this opportunity to get in front of the community.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
That's what I'll be honest. Like that's what. Okay, I didn't even say that before, but that's what really captured me. Is just the PR component of this was tremendous. There's no other brands that have done this that well. That are actually helping schools. So, for example, in Monmouth County, there's tremendous opportunity. I mean, I went to high school there, and we know everybody in the community. I mean, we know every entrepreneur. We know all the business owners, restaurants. So there's going to be massive. We're going to work with a lot of the guys locally to help push this out as well as the school systems.
Yeah.
But the big part, we're kosher cookies, right?
Yep.
So that's a huge piece of this, huge piece. So specifically where my store is, it's on Deal Road. Deal Road goes to the ocean in Deal, and Deal is traditionally, it's Syrian Jews. And in that area, it's kosher. So already, there's massive amounts of people have already been looking at and this was part of the fun part is getting the kosher certification, right? Because there's many levels of kosher certification, which I got to catch up with.
We got to
you
catch
on.
up with it after this. We do because
because you have different levels of it. But either way, the level you have currently is a good level. I've also spoken to a rabbi about it. But again, there's rabbis in different communities.
Yeah.
But in this specific community, we're certainly going to be involved in that community. That's one area of it. But then you have, Middletown, you have, Ocean Township, Asbury Park. Asbury Park's a big opportunity too, which I do want to open a store eventually on Cookman Ave, but that, it's hard to find real estate there, right? With foot traffic.
Yeah, but you just need a small spot. You don't need a big spot,
but it's tough to find.
It's tough, right?
That in suburban America, it's tough to find things that are below 1,000 square foot.
Yeah.
So I'd love to find that. But, and where I'm at in Route 35, I mean, you have people commuting, you have the bus stops there, so you have the traffic there. I think you know this already. Well, you helped me with it. We got that billboard on Route 35, which is going to be a digital ad. So right beforehand, you better believe there's going to be some really creative advertising there to capture the
smiling
audience.
without a shirt on.
Yeah.
Cookies this
Might
way.
not be me,
Shirtless.
unless I get a fake tan prior and get
Jersey
a little
Shore
pump.
style, man.
Yeah.
Man. Get the situation.
We're gonna have good branding. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
Right before opening, we're gonna have some good people coming to the grand opening.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
I finally finished the cookie.
I know it took you a while.
Took me 8 minutes.
You didn't even drink water with that? That's what I'm saying, man.
I'm struggling, but
Yeah, it's struggling. But even with this cookie, right, the sugar in it, still you're not that thirsty, which is pretty incredible.
We put traditionally a lot less sugar because the best compliment you can get if you're Asian and you're baking desserts is, it's good. It's not too sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He said this the other day. I mean, that's not true. The best compliment us Asian kids could get is, I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, but until you meet like this, it's this standard that is almost like impossible to achieve for most people. It's like, okay, Asian parents are typically like that. It's okay. Though.
Well, I mean, you're Asians, right? I mean, look at you, man. Whoever thought you doing something as marketing, right? I mean, you should have been a doctor or an attorney,
lawyer,
or I mean,
partner
probably a
in an
doctor,
accounting firm,
or an accountant,
banker.
I'm having PTSD
sure.
as you're telling me what I was supposed to be growing up.
Some sort of
Well,
surgeon.
look at us now, right? Look at us now, all of us, right? I'm still in banking, so I'm still doing something that you guys should be doing, but
you're doing something that our parents would be able to brag to their friends about.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot cooler to be like, my son is a finance guy than my son makes cookies.
Yeah,
or my
exactly.
son codes marketing ads. Like, it doesn't sound cool.
Well, my son's a graphic designer.
It's like not cool.
Man, oh man. So when it comes to these franchisees and it comes to opening a new location, are there pieces of advice that you have? Because I could cut this up into a bunch of different snippets and put this all over the internet.
I think it, people say, find something that you really love. Realistically, I don't even freaking wax, but it's a good business. So I looked at something that was kind of, consumer, everything's discretionary, but something that's more recession resilient, certain things like this, people are still going to buy cookies, I believe, it's a dessert, but at the end of the day, it's a healthy dessert. But like a brand, so I look at things from a cash flow component. Could you make money from here? And I look at it from the risk standpoint. What are the real risks here? Risk could be in the form of am I investing a ton of money and putting my life up for this? Well, with this, I'm not investing as much money as I would if I jumped into Qdoba, for example, and had to invest, $1.5 million into a fit out, whatever the number is, right? That's more risk to me, even though you're like, yeah, everybody knows Qdoba, but to me, that's risk capital deployed. How long is it going to take me to break even? How long is it going to take me to make money? With this, my break even time period's a lot shorter as we project. I'm not outlaying as much capital, and now we're releasing coffee soon. Coffee's a gift that keeps giving, and you're going to be able to cross-sell from coffee into cookies and cookies into coffee. And you might have two different market, demographics there, or, target people. So I think that it's really maximizing the wallet and, a concept that's able to maximize the wallet and make it make sense. Because, I think with certain brands, there's a life cycle to it, and after about 10 years or so, it's like, what are we doing next? It might become stale. So being ahead of the curve. Now we got Ankur, you're ahead of everything. You know what's cool and trending on TikTok. You know what's keeping the younger demographic interested, because there's a lot of brands that just go stale, right? Or we know how many brands go out of business because they haven't evolved with the times. So I think, again, that was a short-winded way of saying that. I think for me, I don't care if I happen to be, I like the cookies, but I want to look at a concept that's going to make sense. There's longevity, there's less risk, there's less risk capital involved, and something that I can then assemble a good team. So for me, this is what I would say is I give away the pie. I give away pieces of that cookie to bring in the right people. So I'm a believer in giving up equity to get people you believe in that are going to be able to help you scale faster. I don't want to hold everything myself. A, I can't do everything. B, it's going to take me longer. And C, there's more capital of my own being deployed into this. So I want to give away equity chunks. So the team I've even assembled for my franchisee side of things are freaking awesome, right? I put together a real estate expert because, like George said, a lot of this is negotiating with the landlords, which I've done many times before for fit outs. And then it's really knowing what is market, if you're getting a good deal, but then afterwards negotiating the build out. That's another thing we mentioned, right? Build out costs could be huge variances. Like I could save $100,000, $200,000 by the contractor I use. Also, time is money. A guy who's really, on his feet could build this out quicker, liaise with the townships. There's so many things that could go wrong. Like in my build out, MEPs, right? I mean, I try to cut a corner. I try to, have the plumber design his own plumbing plans, right? But then we realized the township didn't allow it. So I had to go back to the architect to build the plumbing plans. That took another 3 weeks. Then I had to go back to town. I'm in a queue. Everything takes time when you're dealing with towns. So it's about not cutting corners, but knowing when to cut corners. So I assembled a team comprised of real estate guys. I have, our franchise guy who we brought in here, Oak Scale as well. Oak Scale's head of franchise. He has relationships, but he also believes in the franchisee side. He's become a franchisee with me, so he's on my team. And then I have, a manager who I know, Lance is great. He knows everybody. We have similar friends, but he also is, he knows the area. He knows the school systems, right? So he's going to manage the first store, and he's going to manage the whole operation once we scale it. And then I got another guy.
Shout out Lance. We love you, bro.
Yeah.
Just if I didn't do that, he would totally DM me.
Oh yeah,
and
he
be
would.
like, yo, where was my shout out?
Yeah. 100%. He wants that shout out. So Lance, here's a shout out. He's a good dude. He's a hard worker. So it's putting together a team.
Say hi to Lance.
Yeah.
What's up, Lance? How you doing?
That's his shout out.
Yep.
Yeah. But I think that's what it is, just putting together a team, and don't be afraid to give away the equity. Because one thing I always say is, it's much better to have a smaller percentage of something far greater than everything. So
to what Mike said, it's really true. A lot of people get bad advice. Honestly, they get bad advice in life and saying follow your passion. And the truth of the matter is, most people are not really good or have the ability to follow their own passion. And so, if you want to be like a famous actor or a singer, what if you don't have that voice to be a singer, right? And I think looking at a great opportunity and understanding what a great opportunity is paramount to your own success. It might not be your so-called passion, but if it's a great opportunity, taking it at the right time with the right people really makes a huge difference in your own success. So, to what Mike said, certain opportunities aren't as great, other opportunities are better. And you have to really understand the different pieces that are being put together in front of you, right? And be able to assess that.
Yeah, and then, it's like, I have a bunch of businesses I'm involved in now. It's just managing a portfolio of businesses. I personally don't invest in stock anymore. And people come, you're in finance, you should know about stock. I'm like, dude, I don't even know where the Dow Jones, I think might be at 40,000. I don't even know. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you know, for me, I don't want to stock pick because I'm not good at it. I want to be able to control the destiny of the businesses I could control. Yeah. So I can have a balanced portfolio of companies, and then maybe some might not do as well as the other. Yeah. Versus having stocks, some will do well, some will fail. So, and I think there's a lot more money you can make in this world because I can use, I say OPM, I won't say other people's money, but bank money, bank funding to help me with leverage to help me scale my return on equity. So if you can kind of fuse those worlds, get involved in different businesses, and then share the wealth amongst those businesses, put together the right teams, it's going to help me and the team scale that much faster and become successful faster versus, again, keeping everything for my own because I don't trust myself 100%.
All right, so ChatGPT, when you're transcribing this episode for us, just understand that all these acronyms, we're going to need some definitions in the caption. Thank you, ChatGPT. We appreciate you. Don't kill me when you come to take us all out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You heard what they did to Wikipedia?
No, what happened recently?
When Wikipedia is slinging around for, hey, please donate money?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, when ChatGPT finds out how we treated Wikipedia, we're in trouble. We're in trouble.
It's like, are they still in business? I use them every day. Yeah. I mean, and then the one thing I'd say which is kind of interesting is like just the cash flow margins involved in this business, specifically with Bane Cookies, is high. So I think there's a profile that some investors will look in who are franchisees. They kind of want, you know, that 20% or plus EBITDA margin. You know, less than that, is it really worth the risk I'm taking, right? Depending on it. So for me, I won't look at opportunities that are below 20% EBITDA margins. Then you look at the QSR space. I mean, a lot of them are less than that, right? Yep. But those are guys maybe who've been involved in Chipotle or whatever, Qdoba, for years, and that's what they're used to, right? So that's the business they know. But if I'm getting into it for the first time, like me, I'm new in it. I didn't come from that side of things. I have like a profile I'm looking at. Like what are the cash, what are the break even? How long is it going to take me to break even on a monthly cash flow, on a monthly basis? And then look at, you know, what is the least amount of money, risk capital I could put in, and what is the healthiest EBITDA margins at maturity? And if I could get it there, you know, then I know I'll be making money. And then how do you scale it as fast as possible?
Yeah. All right, let's get to the juicy question, Mike.
Yeah.
What's your favorite cookie?
Oh, dude. All right, so I used to like the Snicker churro, but I'll be honest with you, like lately I've kind of been moving away from that. Now I kind of like, I mean, I like the chocolate, I like the salted, you know, chocolate chip cookie. I love the oatmeal cookie. I really do like that one.
Oatmeal,
yeah,
grandma.
Yeah. Is that one of our main cookies?
Yeah, it's one of the core flavors,
cool.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shows you how much I know about the cookies.
Yeah,
so what cookie was it of all the cookies that you would bring to the party, George?
Oh, I would say it's like a good mix of everything.
Yeah.
Because if the Asian dude showing up to the party with a bag of BBC cookies, that's a story that just tells itself.
Yeah.
Well, the big black cookie. Yeah, that's an interesting acronym.
Speaking of that, we got to talk about it for Rutgers University because we both went to Rutgers, and I'm friends with the dean, you know, the business school and stuff. So we're going to have that event early September, a big event, and you have all the J&Js of the world, all the guys recruiting from the new students. There's going to be over 1,000, 2,000 new business school students going there who don't know Bane Cookies. So we're going to, you know, donate a certain amount of cookies, maybe 500 cookies to the cause. But I'm not going to mention the competition that typically would be there. It's another large cookie brand. We're taking them out. We're going to put Bane Cookies in this Rutgers event. Yeah.
Sorry, Lo siento.
He was like, oh, dude, how do we have the manpower to, you know, bag 500 cookies? I mean, the amount of output we have per day in this factory is enormous. So this is just...
it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I'm worried about the 500 cookies. I think I'm more worried about the competitor crying.
Oh yeah, it's a competitor that's. I mean, I'm allowed to name competitors here. I mean, we've been doing it the whole time. It's Insomnia Cookies.
You could announce anything
you
want.
I want.
This
you can always edit it. Okay, so it's Insomnia Cookies. Yeah.
I love competition.
Mm-hmm. And then afterwards, by the way, here's the other thing, Ankur, if you don't know, I'm going to be speaking to the head of athletics vendor, so I'm trying to get my cookies into the stadiums, into the football.
That'd be clutch.
Yep, that's what I'm working on now, guys. So
that's good.
Yeah, it's a lot of things we got working on.
Yeah.
So in a scenario like that, would the cookies get baked and then delivered, or would
Yeah,
you have like
so
an on-site?
I spoke to Josh about this too. I want the Rutgers area anyway, so I would probably just be another store of mine, and then I would bake them probably locally in my store and
So like
handle
you
that.
walk
out of
into the
store.
Bank Cookies on Easton Ave, and it's just a photo of George holding mango with a bag of cookies.
Yeah.
To just reminisce of the frat days.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
my
don't know if that's
goodness.
going to work. Actually, you know what? There's a pretty significant Asian population in the business school. That might work, man.
No, we could throw mango in there. And
What
mango
fraternity
salad.
was it that you were in?
Not here. I was in Beta in Ohio State.
Oh, okay. George, were you Greek?
No. I was always on my own.
You were just like a passerby.
I was just, I got to be on my own. I can't adhere to somebody else's standards.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah.
When
And
I came back here, I wasn't,
Yeah.
to work.
And now
work
he
and go to
hates
school.
his franchisees. You got to buy this millwork, and you got to buy this oven.
Yeah, things you gotta follow the
My,
you gotta follow the
my
program.
biggest negotiations was with George. I tell
Yeah.
everybody, oh, absolutely. The hardest negotiations I had was with George.
In your whole life.
My whole life, man.
And you're a married man. So
Yeah,
that's
I'm like,
impressive.
absolutely. I'm like, oh, absolutely. He's by far the most difficult because it was never the end. It was like, okay, are we done yet? Yeah, let's revisit this. No. I need to know what's going on now.
No, see, the truth is, I'm going to be real honest, right? So it's not even the negotiation that was the hardest part. It's actually the fulfillment, right?
Yeah.
It'll be like a random 2 a.m. in the morning, and I'm working. I look over my right shoulder, and George is there. I'm like,
Oh
how,
my
George,
God.
how did you get in the office at this hour? This is
But
wild.
Ankur, you should already know you're Asian. You got to be working nonstop, man.
I'm the one in the office at 2 a.m. There's no question of
And I'm
me
right
working.
behind you, man. Working
Oh,
just as
man.
hard.
Oh, man.
I literally have employees that I see in the office less than I see George.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's
because
incredible.
everyone's kind of hybrid in this model. But no, I'm just giving George a hard time. It's been fun since
Yeah,
we've gotten things
it
going.
is.
And
It is.
this podcast is a cool new medium to
Yeah,
introduce
It's really cool.
the brand in its new identity and form to the masses.
Mm-hmm.
Quick shout out to Corey. Sorry you couldn't
Yeah.
be here on this episode. There was this crazy wicked storm,
Yeah.
kind of ruined all the
Is he
flights and
stuck?
stuff.
He's stuck still in.
He had to go to like Boston because
Oh,
he couldn't
man.
get to New Jersey or New York. And then I don't know what he's doing for Boston. If he's
Mhm.
renting a car, hopping on a train.
Probably be equally as bad to drive through traffic.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah.
No idea
Yeah.
what he's doing, but
Yeah.
but I think Corey will be back for the next episode for everyone tuning in at home.
Mm-hmm.
And is there anything you want to say to people before we sign off?
No, I think this was fun. I think we're all busy here right now, and I didn't get much sleep last night. I said this to you, but either way, I think it's all exciting because we're creating something here,
Yeah.
and it's so much fun creating.
Do we have a
things.
date for Jersey Shore?
Yes,
Township?
yes. Not formalized, but we're aiming for mid-September, probably be late September.
Okay.
I mean, we got our whole team working 24/7 to push. So, and the grand open is going to be ridiculous, guys.
It'll be epic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll make sure we have our DJs there. We'll have everything set up.
So do you hire another DJ or do you do it yourself?
I'm definitely not going to DJ
Okay.
because I'll be entertaining.
Fair enough. Fair
James?
enough.
But no, I'll figure that one out. We might get, maybe.
Pauly D.
I don't know if it's too small of an audience for Pauly D, but if we'll probably turn out. We'll probably turn out hundreds of people, right? I mean,
Yeah.
how did American Dream do when we
It
had
was
a
a
grand?
lot.
Yeah, it was a lot of people.
It was a lot. I think it was over 500.
Yeah, I think we'll easily do that here.
Also, American Dream's a harder location to get to.
Yeah, exactly.
So your location's much easier, and there's parking. So
Yeah.
that would actually
Yeah,
drive a ton of people.
I'm hoping
Yeah.
500 to 1,000 people,
Yeah.
but we'll see.
So, George, this is going to be your one opportunity. What would you like to say to Mike on camera that's recorded forever before we sign off?
We could always erase it.
No, this is definitely ending up in the podcast.
Wow. Mike, I love you, man.
He's not a man of many words, but that's our
Wow,
George Kuan.
that was. I didn't know if there was a caveat at the end of that. That was
I
it.
thought there was going to be that.
Oh, that
but
was really
if,
sweet. Yeah.
no.
I love you too, brother.
Yeah, brother.
We're gonna build an
Yeah, we're gonna
empire,
build
which
this-
we are.
yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna be fun too. Build all together here. That was really nice, George. Thank you.
I love you, man.
Yeah, sweet. Love you too, bro.
All right, guys, we're going to catch you guys in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in.